Welcome once again to the Kevin Dunn Show, and we are so excited that you've taken the time out to join us. Have another very special guest. We have Sherri Brown, who is a vegetarian, and she's been a vegetarian for quite some time. How does she do it? I have no idea, but coming back from the commercial break, we're going to find out more about Sherri and her journey as being a vegetarian.
At Charter Bank, you get totally free checking with online statements. You betcha. Free mobile banking, free online banking, free online bill pay, free debit card, even a new account gift. Free. At Charter Bank, we're here to wow you. And totally free checking is just the beginning. Come see us or open online at charterbank.net. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Life in the country is a conscious choice. And with that choice comes hard work, attention to detail, and investing in the right tools to keep your home or farm at its best. So why choose anything but the very best zero turns on the market today? Exmark. Known for their durability, precision cut, and time-saving performance, Exmarks are the preferred brand of mowing equipment for the landscape professional and people like you who take pride in their lawn. For special pricing incentives, visit exmark.com or your local dealer.
Welcome back, and as I shared earlier, we have Sherri Brown, who is a vegetarian, and she's been a vegetarian for quite some time. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor. Now, Sherri, explain to me, now are you a vegetarian or a vegan?
I'm probably a cheating vegan.
Cheating
a
vegan.
vegetarian doesn't eat meat, and that would be no chicken, pork, beef, or fish. A vegan eats no animal products, which means none of the meat, no eggs, no dairy. There would be no cheese, no milk, no butter, no yogurt, no dairy, no animal products. In fact, vegans actually don't even eat honey because it comes from an animal. Yeah, I know. That was surprising for me too.
Wow.
I have been a vegetarian for about over 5 years. I am vegan except for cheese. My daughter says I'm a cheegan. I cheat at it a little bit, but I do eat some cheese. I don't eat much, but I do enjoy that.
You do enjoy that?
Yeah.
Now, so vegans are pretty much people who are advocates of not harming animals, pretty much.
Well, you have two thought processes. Some people are vegans because they're very concerned about animals and the treatment of animals. Some people, it is a health issue. I don't want to say I don't care about the animals, but my decision was more on the health track, and that was why I went that way.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, being a vegetarian, is that considered a diet, would you say?
I don't consider it a diet. I think when you start using the word diet, it's a mentality where you do something for a time for a purpose and then you're done with it. And also diet kind of seems like you're depriving yourself. And even, I kind of like to refer to myself as someone who has a plant-based diet because if you think about it, you can be a vegan and you can still drink Coke and eat Cheetos for lunch. And that's not what I do or what you really need to do. But those aren't animal products.
Right.
But I try to stick with things that come from the ground and eat them as close to the ground, kind of, not processed and not heavily canned or anything like that.
And that's biblical too. It tells us to stay close to the earth, but it's so expensive to stay so close to the earth.
Well, it can be.
Can be. Okay.
And I hear a lot of people talk about that. I will say I got into this lifestyle a lot. I've always been concerned with good food and nutritious food for my family. That's been a big issue. Right. But the real motivation for being a little more drastic was 5 years ago when my daughter became very ill. She has a congenital heart defect. And she actually had cardiac arrest. She was revived by strangers and survived. And had open heart surgery. She has a pacemaker and a defibrillator. She'll have that the rest of her life, or she'll have new ones. She's on her second now. And understanding that she didn't need heart disease on top of a heart defect, I began to look at how can she best handle, how can I best set her up for a good life? And when I did my research, and I'm a big researcher because I was a reporter for years, and I really did it, and the whole concept of moving towards plants, it's absolutely great for your health and for your heart, and that's when we did that. But it's not a diet to lose weight or to get my cholesterol. It is a lifestyle choice. The expensive thing, I paid for heart surgery. I paid for 2 pacemakers. And I want to tell you, eating this way is a whole lot cheaper. I'm sure you probably know heart disease is the #1 killer in America. It kills more people than all cancers put together. And so I think we got to take it seriously if we really want to take care of ourselves. So yeah, it can be expensive. We eat a lot of things like dried beans, and a lot of brown rice, a lot of grains, quinoa, millet, those kinds of things. And those really aren't that expensive. Now you can go buy organic, fancy lettuces and drop some pennies.
Drop some pennies. But it's still interesting that you just said that, because I guess I was kind of tunnel about the cost, and a lot of people are tunnel. But when you weigh it against what could the outcome be with medical expenses, it's a whole lot cheaper.
I'm a little older than you are.
Okay.
And our peer group, my husband and I, all of our friends are starting to move to having to take cholesterol drugs. They're very expensive. Taking blood pressure drugs, some of them are cheap, some of them aren't. A lot of folks are having diabetes issues. It's very expensive. And you start dropping $100 to $500 a month on medication. And the cost of that orange doesn't look so bad.
That's very interesting you said that. Now, you touched on this earlier. Now tell us once again, how long have you actually been a vegetarian? I
actually tried it off and on a lot, but I got really serious about it 5 years ago when my daughter was sick. And I actually went completely vegetarian and just began to cook more vegetarian meals, but not completely in our home. And everybody actually started eating my food more than the meat. And I thought, well, this is kind of ridiculous, because I was still kind of cooking 2 sets of meals. And so I said, forget it. And so about 6 or 8 months into it, I just said, we're going to be a vegetarian household. And I haven't cooked meat since then.
So you can honestly say that you will be a vegetarian the rest of your life?
Oh, I will be, yes.
And that was my next question. So all of your family members?
No.
Not all of them.
None of them.
So
I'm the only.
So you're
I'm the only purist.
The purist. But
no, I have 3 daughters that are. One's married, 2 are in college, and they're all aware. And I mean, they'll go to a restaurant and order a bean burger sometimes, and they're open to those kinds of foods. They don't eat meat, certainly not every day, but they do eat meat. My husband does eat meat. Not very often. He'll have a lunch with somebody and he might order something, but most of the time he doesn't. And he doesn't eat any at home, and he eats at home most.
Right, wow. So you said the main reason that brought this on was the trial and tribulation that your daughter went through. Are there any other reasons that you have that?
Yeah, as I said, I'm getting older, and when I began looking at how best to give her health, I found that was really the best way for me too. I read on, and I'm big on national studies, independent studies, scientific studies. Not if the Dairy Council's telling me to drink milk, I'm not really going to listen because they're benefiting and profiting from that. So I'm looking more for scientific research. And what I found were some great stuff. I read, and just for your information, the China study, the Blue Zone, and there was another one on reversing heart disease. I don't remember the exact title, but I read several of those, and they were really very convincing about not just heart disease, but also keeping your mind sharp. You're getting older and you kind of lose that memory a little bit, but keeping your mind sharp, avoiding diabetes, avoiding cancer. As I read, every single thing said the same thing, and they all said, some of them went a little further than others. Some of them said don't eat any animal products. Some of them said don't eat any meat. But they all kind of had the same, go as much as you can towards plant-based diet. And so I thought, well, if this is good for everything, then it's got to be good for me. And I will say, the longer you go, I mean, you just feel better.
Just feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we had someone in the studio say, Sherri, I hear what you're saying, but a lot of the plants and vegetations are sometimes sprayed with chemicals or whatnot. Is it still healthy to stay close to the earth with?
Well, there's a lot of meat with a lot of chemicals and stuff in it too.
Okay,
So
right.
that is an issue. And there is an app called the Dirty Dozen. And it is an environmental group that every year tests all the fruits and vegetables that you'll find at your grocery store. And they test them for insecticides, pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and those kinds of things. They give you the Dirty Dozen, the top 12 fruits and vegetables that are going to have the most. That if you eat your 4 servings or 5 servings a day from that top 12, you will have more than 14 chemical ingredients in those vegetables.
Wow.
They also have the Clean 15, and those are the 15 cleanest. So basically, when I go to the grocery store, and I have the app on my phone, or you can look it up on your computer if you don't have it on your phone. And when I go to the grocery store, if I'm going to spend my money on organic food, it's going to be on those Dirty 12. Because that'll be worth it to me. I'm not going to ever buy a organic onion because onions don't have anything on them anyway. So I'm not wasting my money on that.
Because they're like underground?
They're underground. Now, sometimes the underground, some of the root vegetables can have some, but onions just, apparently bugs don't like onions, so they don't have to do that. But so yeah, and so that's a really good tool. Greens are one that I do spend the extra money. If I want fresh spinach, I'm going to get organic spinach because you're going to eat that leaf and it sticks to that leaf. And so it's worth the money for me to go ahead and buy that. I'm not going to buy an organic banana because by the time I get to the banana part, there's not really going to be anything for me. So you know, that's a way to save some money because I am kind of cheap. But then again, there's some that I think are worth the extra 50 cents or $1.
And you're probably just more conservative, not necessarily cheap, right?
I can be cheap.
Okay. Now, do you have, with the 12 and the 15, do you know any, what other items right off the top that goes along with the 12? Just a couple
The number one dirtiest, most pesticide, insecticide-laden fruit is an apple.
An apple?
Yeah. That really made me sad. I mean, it really makes me sad. And I will say this, organic apples, by the time they get to the store, there's not a whole lot of, they're not that great. So yeah, apples, it's really, that kind of hurt me because I love a good apple.
So do you?
Sometimes I'll eat it. I eat some apples, but I don't eat a lot of apples because of that, because I mean, it's the number one.
It's number one. Wow.
Yeah, they spray. Yeah, I know. They spray those apples. They really do. Spinach, all your lettuces and spinach, your greens that you're going to eat, those are all on that top list. I'm trying to remember. I know carrots are pretty clean. No, I think I buy organic carrots are not that expensive, so I do buy organic carrots. I'm trying to think. I can't think right off the bat.
That's good.
But I do the greens and the things that you're going to eat the peeling or the leaf of. Those are the things that I would go ahead and get.
It's very interesting. And once again, people might say, well, wow, why are you going through all this trouble? But like you said, it's your health and it's your body and your temple. And you have to take care of it. Nobody else can do that for you. Now, when you first stopped eating meat or became a vegetarian, how tough was it? Or was it easy at first?
Well, I failed a couple of times when I first did it. And I think you have to really, part of the problem is Americans eat this plate of food where you have a meat and then you have these side dishes. We even call them side dishes. So they're not, we don't really think of them as, we just think of them as little extras, but this is our real dinner. And so if you just take that meat out and you eat your side dishes, you're hungry. I'm not a lightweight eater. I can't eat a salad and be happy. I got to have some serious food. I mean, I'm an eater. And so I had to rethink where I was getting my protein. And a lot of people will ask me, well, how do you get your protein? There's plenty of ways, but you just have to think it through. So, and rethinking that plate of food to proteins, fruits, and vegetables and grains is can be challenging because it's a different way of eating. And this time I was successful because I really spent more energy in figuring out how I was getting that protein.
Okay, all right. Now, do you still have the urge to eat meat?
Every now and then, those Chick-fil-A sandwiches smell really good.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes that barbecue driving through town, that smoking barbecue kind of goes, that smells good. But I don't crave it. I really don't.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to pause and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to find more about your journey as being a vegetarian.
Okay.
Trailers, Jewelry and Pawn, 504 Greenville Street, serving LaGrange for 42 years.
Pop's Party Place in LaGrange, with more than just inflatables on our soft floors, has the largest party space in the region. Of course, Pop's specialty is our giant party playroom, especially equipped for you and your child to make great birthday memories. School classes and teams celebrate with us too. Does your group need to raise money? Call about our Spirit Days. Now open weekdays for discounted parties and open play. The star in your family has a place at Pop's. Check out the new club room for teens and adults. Perfect for the Sweet 16, turning 13, and the Big 4-0. Call for a tour today and find us on Facebook, Pop's Party Place, where kids can be kids.
Maximum Tax Professionals in West Point has an expert staff that will meet all your tax preparation needs. Maximum Tax Professionals would love to prepare your taxes. Their ultimate goal is to maximize your return with you receiving your refund usually within 7 days. They offer free estimates, W-2 Express, notary services, and all military, self-employed, and walk-ins are welcome. You can even earn cash on referrals. And don't forget to ask them about Audit Plus Protection. If you would like your return maximized, visit Maximum Tax Professionals in West Point. Welcome back to the Kevin Dunn Show, where we are still talking with Sherri Brown, a vegetarian, and she's been a vegetarian for quite some time. Here's $1 million question. How have you been so disciplined? How or what has allowed you to be so disciplined? Because food is definitely a challenge for people.
It is, and I tell people, don't just do away with your meat. Go do Meatless Monday. I mean, just start, little and start rethinking. A lot of people will ask me, well, what do you eat? Because they really can't process how in the world would you have a meal without meat. And so, if you begin little is what I recommend. But there's a lot of good stuff that came out of it. I had pretty severe heartburn for years, and I took medicine almost every day for it. When I switched to being a vegetarian, and I didn't really know this would happen, but it went away completely.
The heartburn went away.
Yeah,
that was great.
I haven't had heartburn in 5 years, and every now and then I'll have a really fatty meal, maybe just because I'll be going out or something, and I might have a little bit, but I've never had anything like I had before. So when you see those tangible, almost immediate results, it's kind of like, wow. This is great. And I will say this, my husband, about the same time we did this, had kind of a bad cholesterol count, and his doctor said, I'm giving you 6 months. If you don't get this down yourself, you're going on medication. And he did not want to go on medication. He began to exercise. Now, he did do some pretty serious exercising, so that was good. But then he also, this is about the same time we did this, he dropped his cholesterol 50 points in 6 months with no medication. So we had some really immediate good feelings and good results from eating that way. So it made us believers pretty quick.
Now, I've been, I guess you could call them diets or whatnot, just for high blood sugar or whatnot. And there are times when things are just going well, and I will overcome the craving, and it'll last about 6 or 7 months. And then I actually tend to drift back. What advice would you have to me and others who kind of fluctuate? We do good for a while, but it's really not doing us any good because we end up going back to our bad eating habits. What other advice could you offer?
Well, the first thing I would say, and I try to tell this, and unfortunately it's mostly moms, and I hate to put all the pressure on moms, but I was raised in a household that was real concerned with nutrition. And so I ate lots of fruits and vegetables. We had a salad at every single meal growing up. And so I was sort of on that road anyway.
Oh,
And I think a lot of times I see that people in this area especially, they eat a lot of fried foods, they eat a lot of processed foods, a lot of convenience foods, which have a lot of salt, sugar, fat. And when you grow up that way, I think you naturally are drawn to those foods. My husband grew up that way, and he still likes a good casserole with cheese and and cream soups and sour cream and all those bad things for you. I mean, I don't want that.
You don't want it.
I don't want it, and that doesn't make me feel good. Now, a piece of chocolate cake we might have to talk about, but I think if you start off your kids, you have this opportunity to set them on a different path, and I think that's really important. But it's really a mind game, and
Right,
I think when you
right.
say diet, again, it's
Okay.
like I can't have all these things. I never said I can't have meat. I said I'm going to eat these foods. I'm going to make this choice, and I like good food. Like I said, I like good food, and but I like to cook as well. And so, I found that I really enjoyed the food I was eating.
Right.
I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to eat well. And so if I want a piece of chocolate cake, I'll just have one. But, it's not denial, it's just a switch of what
Okay.
you're going to eat. And you got to experiment. We kind of have this idea there's like 12 fruits and vegetables at the grocery store, and we think we have to stick with those 12.
Right.
And there's a lot more out there if you kind of explore and look at different ways to eat.
So it's back to moderation, pretty much. Or is that
Yeah,
for starts?
I think that there's some foods that you should never eat.
Okay.
And some people want to say there's no food you can't eat. I don't think and you're not going to like this, but I don't think anybody needs to drink a soda ever. I mean, there's no redeeming value in a soda, period. And certainly not a diet soda, because that's just horrible. So, I mean, I just don't think you should. I mean, I think there are some foods you should just say, I'm never going to eat that again, and just walk away from it.
Just walk away.
But, and there are ways to make things that I don't eat, I don't cook like with artificial sweeteners. If I'm going to make something sweet, I'll put sugar in it. Now, I use some alternative sugars, like I'll use maple syrup instead of refined sugar or something like that. But I'm not going to get hung up on all that. But I don't eat much of that.
Okay, you said earlier, and I know the guests are saying, okay, Sherri, we know you lost the heartburn. So how good do you feel? Can you really tell a big difference? How good do you feel being a vegetarian?
I feel pretty good.
Feel pretty good.
I'm almost 55, and I can still hold my own at the gym, and I'm working pretty long hours these days, and I've the energy, and I feel good, and my health is good. My numbers, I have annual physical. My husband and I kind of have a race. He's beating me right now on the best cholesterol level, but my cholesterol level was fabulous, and it feels good to know that you're doing what you can to treat your body well.
And that is a healthy competition you have in your household to see who can get the best numbers. Me and my wife might need to try that. I don't know. But anyway, now as far as colds, I know we live in the South. A lot of people have sinus infections and stuff like that. Now, how do you have a lot of colds? Well, not a lot, but do you have them periodically? Do you have sinus issues or?
I haven't had a cold or flu in years. I want to be clear. I don't think eating like this is going to cause all,
Right.
make you, I mean, it's not the magic bullet that's going to get rid of everything, but I don't get sick much. But now I could get a cold next week. I mean, I don't know.
Now, we talked about this off air a little bit too. There's a spiritual side to what you're doing as well. Can you actually touch on that?
Well, my faith's important to me, and I think I told you, I don't really see the Bible as a cookbook. It's a book about redemption, but I also see that it shows us that we are made in the image of God, that we are created to serve Him, and I don't believe that we can do that really well if we don't take care of what God's given us. I have a child who was born with a broken body, and no fault of her own.
Right.
She will have that issue the rest of her life. But I see so many people, especially as you get older, so many people whose
That's
lives
true.
have become broken because of their lifestyle choices, because of their stress, because they smoke, because they eat poorly, because they're overweight, you know. And I feel like there are some things I can control. I can't control everything.
Right.
But there are some things I can control, and I think that it's my responsibility
That's awesome.
to appreciate what I've been given.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us, what do you like to eat? Some of the things that you like to eat.
I like every bean ever made, and I like to go when we go to Atlanta. I don't go a lot, but I like to go to Whole Foods and buy. They have a whole wall of dried beans and big fat ones and little ones and different colored ones, and I like to experiment. I like variety. Lentils, I really enjoy. We eat a lot of lentils. We eat a lot of beans. Soups in the winter time. We're part of a CSA, which is we buy from a local farm, and so we get that delivery every week during the spring and summer. And so sometimes I'll get these things I've never seen before. And last year we had Jerusalem artichokes. I didn't even know what it
Jerusalem
was.
artichokes.
I know. I'd never heard of that. They're also called sunchokes, both names. And I tried a couple of different things and found that I just liked chopping them up and roasting them and putting them warm. They kind of taste a little bit like a potato, really high in some minerals and some iron, and very good for you. And I just put them hot on top of a salad, and I loved it. It was great.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so I try different things and experiment.
Experiment. Now, if you decide to cheat on your eating, no, we won't really say cheat on your eating, but if you decide to splurge, outside of the chocolate cake, what other things that you may try to eat?
You know, I will say this. I have in the past eaten some things that weren't that great for me, like a pimento cheese sandwich, which is pretty high in fat. And I really like good pimento cheese. And so I'll eat something like that sometimes. But you know, I can feel it. And even my husband, he'll say, I just feel my food sitting on my stomach and it doesn't feel good. It's not that it makes me sick, but you realize, you know, and I think you become more aware when you don't have those feelings most of the time. And you also realize you had those feelings all the time and you didn't know it.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't, really, chocolate's probably.
Chocolate is the main one. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably going to be. But I have a vegan chocolate cake recipe that is fabulous. Now, it's got sugar in it, so it's not exactly great for you, but ooh.
It's great.
In fact, my kids prefer that to any other chocolate cake or cupcake. I mean, they asked me to make those specifically.
That's incredible. Sherri, we've definitely enjoyed our time here with you today, sharing with us
Thanks.
as your journey as being a vegetarian. We hope that Sherri has enlightened you to do better. She's enlightened me. And remember, if you have a topic that you would like to see discussed on the show, please email us at thekevindunnshow@wjcntv.com. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.